So, this is Heaven Gate, Act 8 from 2013. Last time on Heaven Gate, Act 7, while Brian and the army took on Mavis's undead soldiers, Neil and Ginny went in after Mavis. At first, they were able to hold their own, but Mavis soon showed that he was toying with them. Mavis demanded that Neil go retrieve the Jaeger sword from the Hellgate to give him a better challenge. When Neil refused, Mavis demonstrated how outmatched Neil was by putting a sword through Jenny's heart and slamming Neil's face into the ground. Luckily, Brian was able to retrieve Neil before the final blow was struck, and they made their retreat. Author's notes. Act 8, an issue a year in the making. I can't believe this issue took so long. Oof, buddy. It's not going to get better. I'm really sorry about that, but it will be worth the wait. This is my best issue and the longest, so curl up on the couch with a cup of tea and get ready to be punched in the feels. So we find ourselves at the Jaeger Dojo with Neil and Jenny. Score 1 hit. I won't hold back. Yes, Meister. Neil lunges. Jenny lunges. Thunk. Thunk, 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 thunk. Thunk, 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 thunk. Trading blows. Thump. Gah! Too fast. Boom. Oh. Rip. Ow. Woo! Awesome! Yay, Jenny! Woo! Yeah! Clap, 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 clap. Here. You've earned this, Meister. Yeah! Woo, Jenny! It's not your fault, bro. Huh? Brian, what are you? You can't blame yourself for her death. I shouldn't have allowed her to come. Huh? Dum. Bro. What? Flashbacking. How? I healed the bones in your face and your teeth. Jenny! Were you able to heal Jenny? By the time I arrived, it was already too late. I'm sorry, Neil. If I had come along, if I hadn't been so afraid. No. I shouldn't have brought her along. Her blood is on my hands. You can't blame yourself, you... Nothing I could say would reach him now. I have to meet with the president to discuss what to do next. There's a chopper ready to take you back to Illinois. Thump. Heaven Gate, Hellgate the movie, Act 8. Meister Jenny Carvis, age 24. The funeral was not long after I returned home. The Mavis incident was still classified. The cover story was that Jenny had ran into some young kids in danger and was fatally stabbed by some gang members trying to protect them. Bloomington, Illinois. Got Neil and the gang. We got Nathan. I don't think we've met her yet. I liked when Meister was late and Jenny led us in warm-ups. Why is that? 'Cause she's pretty. Why don't you go talk to that little boy while Sissy talks to Nathan? Okay. Kid runs off and the rain starts. Tiffany. It looks like mostly students from the dojo are here. And I know Jenny was Jewish, but I didn't know she was so orthodox. She wasn't. But her aunt is, and she's the one who organized the funeral. What about her parents? Her mom died when she was little, and no one has been able to reach her father since he found out she died. Jenny was the best one in the dojo. I can't believe... And look at Meister. It's unfathomable for him to ever be injured. But what kind of coincidence is it that he gets injured around the same time Jenny dies? You think whatever happened to her involved Meister? But who could beat Jenny and injure Meister? Neil goes up. I barely knew her, but somehow it hurts. I don't understand this feeling. I'm sorry, Jenny. I should have never let you come along. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Courtney goes up, but Jessica stops her. Because they're going up. Meister? Wipes his tears. Nathan. Tiffany. I'm sorry, Nathan. Meister? I know you had feelings for Jenny. Neil removes his Meister badge and puts it on the casket. Then the aunt gets up. We believe in keeping the casket closed to respect the departed's privacy. But your school meant the world to Jenny. I'm sure she wouldn't mind you putting that in with her. Nathan picks up the photo, and they lift the casket open. Meister, Jenny. Let me out of this truck! Come on, Bart. My little girl. Bam! Punches Neil. Oh, this is all your fault. You're the reason she died. If she hadn't been in your stupid dojo. No, I won't let you speak to Meister that way. Nathan. No, Meister! You told me the day that you met Jenny it looked like she had been bullied. But it wasn't bullies. It was him. Her own father would beat her. But you gave her the strength to fight back. You gave her the power to keep him from hurting her ever again. Nathan, put him down. Yes, Meister. Splash. I'm sorry. We were surprised to find him in the bar this morning, and then he insisted on coming here. He said he wouldn't make a scene. Please make sure he gets home safe. Behind the tree. She wanted him, didn't she? She was after him. Did he love her? What's this ring for? No reason. Often when a man is cheating, he feels guilty and will get his women gifts for no reason to try and offset the guilt. Was it because he was getting bored with me? She can't have him. She's dead. She can't take him now. I win. What am I thinking? Washington, D.C. Your report is very troubling. We stood no chance, sir. But to purposely reopen the Hellgate, how can I justify such a move? As a senator, I had a front row seat to the turmoil the demon outbreak had 6 years ago. Mr. President, before we take that drastic step, I must remind you that this Draco Mabus is not immortal like the demons of 6 years ago. What are you suggesting? Sir, a nuclear strike. That's almost as drastic. He's relatively isolated. We could take him out and still keep this whole matter a secret, sir. Very well. I want anyone remotely in harm's way evacuated. Yes, sir. Back to Bloomington. The West Court Apartments. No shower scene. What kind of monster have I become? Thinking thoughts like that? Trying to find peace of mind in a young girl's death? Why does this always happen with me? Only the one Neil loves the most can bring out the Jaeger sword's true power. Neil! He can lift the sword? The one Neil loves is Jessica? My lack of trust that time. Bam! He could have been killed. Don't you touch her! Not now or ever! But you have to forget her because... I'll fight because I love you. Let's dance. Everything was so exciting back then. But we've been stagnant for so long, living together for 3 years, not changing. Former Groom Lake Facility, Area 51. How long does it take to retrieve a damn sword? Harrison, how do we know if the Hellgate has been opened? You're really starting to rot. When the gate opened in 2003, it went unnoticed for months. So no sky changing color or light show in the distance? No, Lord Mavis, and even if it did, the effects of your demonic energy in the local atmosphere would obscure it. Bzzzt. What's that? My hack in the Army's mainframe. They've just mobilized a nuclear strike against us. Nuclear? It'll create a colossal explosion. This is how they waste their time, instead of sending Neil back to fight me? I better not play around with this. Sorry, Harrison. I'll be needing my energy back. Harrison collapses. All of the undead collapse. Why must you continue to underestimate Draco Mavis? Olympus Mons! Boom. Wish I could shake the screen there. Boom. The Lake Eureka High Security Army Base. Neil on the bridge. It's nice that they left some of the woods here in the base. Courtney! I figured you'd be here. I'm waiting to hear if the attack against Mavis was successful. You know, this was the first place we hung out, outside of school. Oh, young Neil and young Courtney. There was nothing else to do in the town, except bowl. And even back then, I had such a crush on you. I have something for you. Our apartment key? I'm not strong enough to be there for you, Neil. I don't understand. I'm sorry. We both risked our lives so much when we were younger, but I don't have the heart for it anymore. Things were supposed to be peaceful once the gate was sealed. I can't handle this anymore. I can't be with you for this. Neil, we need to break up. I'm sorry. But I love you. I don't know how to believe that. I'm sorry. And Neil slumps down. Back in the desert. My castle. All my soldiers gone. You'll pay for standing me up, Demon Slayer. I'm going to destroy every Earthling settlement I find until you show yourself. What is this? Act 8. End. Fan art! We got a Mavis piece here. And this is actually the demon Kayla from back in Hellgate. And then author Rachel Dunn did this piece for me of Mavis. Next time on Heavengate Act 9, Neil has already proven himself to be no match for Mavis without the Jaeger sword. But will Neil really unseal the Hellgate in order to face Mavis? He may have no choice as Mavis decides to make Las Vegas his own. Credits, art and story, Nathaniel Yeager, Cloud Images, Rachel Dunn, Tastock, Stock, JM, and Margu Stock. Military consultant, Ray Mounty. Jewish traditional consultants, Jenny Kaddish, Kayla Howard, Bruce Howard, Lisa Alcalay Klung of JewishFederation.org. Art consultant, Kelsey Fanistock. Vegas reference photographer, Crystal Beal. Fonts, blambot.com. Heavengate on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Jaeger Inc. And check out Hippo 2, www.facebook.com/Hippo the Penguin. Those are defunct. They've emerged. But yeah, I guess we'll dive into the commentary. We got a lot to talk about on this one. This is the last hand-drawn issue of Heavengate. Went full digital after this. So this is not the last. This is the second to last Photoshop cover. I still really like how this one came out. You know, I decided to go monochromatic. I went the lower angle. It's supposed to be them kind of looking down at the casket with the rain effect and the tree behind them and just, you know, the water on them and the way the water is just, I'm very proud of this. This took a lot of work, a lot of playing with layers to get this one right. I was definitely had fully kind of moved into my being comfortable with Photoshop as a digital medium, opposed to, you know, it was something I had to learn coming off of so much Microsoft Paint. You know, I had to think of it differently. Microsoft Paint almost feels the same as if you're drawing by hand because you only have one layer, right? Once you have layers, you got to think of things differently. This cover kind of had a musical theme in my head, which was Apologize by Timbaland. That's the song that was like on loop in my head as I was working on this cover. The author, oh, by the way, the subtle nod, because again, these silhouettes here, right, they appear whenever we're talking about an issue. So this silhouette appeared at the end of issue 6. And it was a subtle hint that Jenny wasn't going to make it because Jenny has this Star of David necklace and the necklace is broken here. Very subtly, but it's just slightly broken. That's the silhouette that represents the issue that she died in. But yeah, I do find it funny that this is me like, oh, this issue took a year. I'm so sorry. There's a reason why this is funny on two. One is most issues take a year now, at the very least. Like I don't know what happened, but I can't get them out fast. I just got so much else going on. But also the next issue after this one, when I was like, all right, well, I think the next issue is probably going to be a bit quicker. I'm going to go full digital and that should go faster. The next issue took almost 4 years to make after this one, but we'll go more into that when we cover that one. So interesting thing. So this is obviously a dream sequence, right? And I'm still doing things by hand. Now I think there is a bit of a filter over top of this, a bit of like a soft filter, but there's another reason why it has, if you look and you kind of compare it, this to that, especially when you see Brian there, there's a reason why they look a bit different. And it's not just the filter. It's because this is when I would ink by hand, right? With pens. I had this pen set I would keep buying that had different weights to it, different thicknesses. And I would use that before, I could digitally change the size of my pen. One time I accidentally, because they looked almost identical, instead of buying a set of black, I bought a set of sepia. I bet a set of brown ones, dark brown ones. And I was like, well, shit, this isn't what I wanted. And this is the one time I used them. I used the sepia pens to do the line art for this scene, this dream sequence, to set it apart from the waking world. And so, yeah, it's this dream that Neil has that what if Jenny had lived and had gone on to do the Meister test and she passes it. And, it's only Neil and Jenny have faces. We even take a look at other known characters. Like this is Nathan and Tiffany. We'll meet Tiffany later. We've seen Nathan already. He's the other blue belt in the dojo, kind of a rival with Jenny. But this is them. But no one has faces because this isn't real. This is a dream. And then we see Brian here. Brian in the real world is at Neil's bedside and talking to Neil. And so Brian's kind of, his voice is making it into Neil's dream. And so that's why Brian is fully drawn with the black pens and all that, because he's real. And then once Brian fades away, Neil looks, and suddenly Jenny's one of Mavis's zombies. Although that didn't happen in the comic, or in actuality. But Neil doesn't know that. Last thing he saw, she died and he got his face smashed in. And so I believe this expression here is, I believe I referenced Fullmetal Alchemist on this one. But yeah, Neil jerks awake. We get him just remembering what happened, kind of explaining why he even has a face right now. Demonic was able to do some healing on him. He'll feel the bones up, put all his teeth back in, but obviously he's still a little messed up. And yeah, this is a very powerful scene. I'm very, very happy I was able to convey so much emotion here. If I was working digitally, I might play more with colors on this, but it's not bad for what I had available to me at the time. And this here for the cover, I decided to do a what if drawing. What if Jenny had lived? So this was because Jenny was only like 16. But so I decided to draw what Jenny would look like, in her mid-20s as a Meister of the dojo. So she gets the badge and the Meister coat, and her hair's longer. I like this drawing quite a bit. And judging by the thickness of the line art, Rachel Dunn, I've talked about her a lot. She's a friend of mine and an author. She doesn't do art as much anymore, but she did used to do quite a bit of art. She wanted to get into comics before she got into just novels. Of course, she did the cover to issue 2 of Heaven Gate. She actually sat me down and showed me like her technique for line art around this time. And this was actually me kind of putting that to paper with using thicker line art, which would then definitely, still influences me to this day. That one little lesson that we did together. So yeah, then we got, and with this being the last issue before I went full digital, I think this is where I kind of peaked with my mixing digital and physical assets, It's definitely a far cry from how bad it looked in issue like 2 and 3. So this is Tiffany. Tiffany was not seen previously, but she is another student at the dojo. And Tiffany is based off of a fan of Hellgate. I don't think she keeps up with it anymore. And she's got like kids and shit. She's a couple years younger than me, but she was one of my first online readers of Hellgate. She loved Hellgate. She was mad when I told her it was ending. So I based this character off of her. She was probably Hellgate's biggest fan back in like the aughts. And also, I did do a lot of research on Jewish traditions for this. So everyone has this scrap of black pinned to them. I don't remember the symbolism of that, but I just know that's a thing. Also, you'll notice the yarmulkes on all the boys. Apparently it's tradition, I guess, in certain Orthodox funerals for everyone to wear a yarmulke. Not you don't have to be Jewish. That's just the attire you wear to the Jewish wedding. My brain froze, and it had all that time, and it still chose the wrong answer. Funeral. Also, I had all of the students of the dojo also wear their bands. So like she's a black belt, she's got the black band. He's a white belt, which they don't have bands, they have actual belts. But you can see all the students of the dojo are wearing their sashes because the dojo was such a big part of Jenny's life. And this is digital. I drew it by hand once, and then I would digitally put it in the frame each time so that I could adjust its angle and have it look right. And then the rain is an overlay digital effect. Um, so this is Jenny's father. We've seen him before, and I think I mentioned this. That he is roughly based off my first stepdad. And one big regret I have right here is why is he watching football? I was like, what dumb thing would the guy who's kind of knocked out, the drunk guy, watch? And I went with football, and I feel dumb because the answer is obvious. It should have been wrestling. He should have been watching fucking wrestling at this, whatever. So yeah, here we see more students. I got the armbands on, green belts and red belts. Everyone's sad and in the rain. It's always fun to kind of draw people's hair wet, and just like a lot of times people don't put a lot of thought into like, well, it's wet now, but like, no, I like to show that the hair lays different when it's soaked. I think as this scene goes on, the rain effect is getting darker to show that it is raining more and more. But yeah, a very emotional issue. I don't even know how I did this, man. She almost like glows here, and that is, I don't think that was intentional. But again, looking up Jewish traditions, she's in a very plain casket. She's wearing traditional white robes, and she still is bloody. They don't, at least from my research, they don't wash the body for whatever reason, some sort of like, I don't know the exact reason, but so yeah, I kept the blood trailing out of her mouth there, dried at this point, obviously. Also, man, that badge, put a lot of detail on that badge. You can just see like the curves of it and everything. Then we bring in the dad and his two friends. Here's where the rain gets really dark. And you never get a good look at this guy's shirt, but I remember what I designed it to say. His shirt said, "Am I awake? I must need a beer." That was my idea for his design. These are just supposed to be like his bar buddies. So the idea is that instead of going to a funeral, he went to the bar, and they're like, "What are you doing here? Your daughter's getting buried today." And then he comes over here after being at the bar, and creates a scene. And yeah, then we have Courtney kind of descending into depression. I'll talk a bit more about that at the end of the issue. But we have flashbacks to issue 2 where Neil gave her the ring, or he actually found the ring. He was going to propose. She doesn't know that because he panicked and said no reason. And then she saw some television show that's made her believe that he might be cheating. This is a flashback to the secret issue 37.5 of Hellgate where they banged. I kind of worried about these flashbacks because of, like, are they going to know that's Courtney? Like, her hair is completely different. Speaking, of course, of people who only read Hellgate. But then we go to the White House, and it's Obama. And what was this issue? It was a 2013. I made this issue. And when was the election? 2012, right? 2012, 13, 14, 15, the 2016 election. Yeah, so I guess it was known here for sure that Obama won a second term. But I think I name dropped Obama being president currently in the Heaven Gate timeline before that 2012 election in an earlier issue. I made a prediction and it came out to be true. So I also aged Obama a bit up here because, again, I'm making this in 2013, but it takes place in 2015. Also, all the photos are just actual photos from the White House, and I just put them in. I didn't even draw them again. Just digitally imposed. We have a shower scene. I think a shower scene is just like a good time. This is more, you can see through this more than I originally intended, and that is just the nature of digital. I guess I always meant for this to be digital, but I don't know. But I put the steam in afterwards, and I tried to make it like just at that very level of like, you can't quite see through it, but you kind of can. because I don't know, I guess I wanted this depression scene to be sexy. A little weird in hindsight. I would have added, I'm not saying I wouldn't make it a shower scene because that's when I do all my like dark thinking, but maybe I would just frame it a bit differently so it's not also trying to be tantalizing at the same time. That feels a little weird. But we got these flashbacks to earlier in Hellgate when Courtney thought Neil might love Jessica because Jessica's voice was making Neil's sword lighter, and that almost got him killed. And then she's just kind of remembering the good time. This is issue 3 of Hellgate when he came and saved her at the Demon Castle. This is issue 11, where her kiss broke him out of his demonic state. Issue 26, when his new form appeared that was created from being in love with her. And issue 34, when they danced together at Hotel California. I do like the silhouette look. Like, I don't know. I peaked here. I peaked in terms of my hand-drawn work, my hand-colored work. We're back to the Groom Lake facility. We can see this is where the fight happened, right? You can see there's the slab where Jenny died. You can see her broken sword there. You can see her blood there. And you can see that's where Neil got his face smashed into the ground. And we got some holes here where the energy dragon probably popped in and out. Dr. Harrison is not looking that great. He has been dead for a while now, and he is really starting to rot, with the focal point being that scrape from shaving that was Mavis's entry point at the very beginning. This scene, I really like this. This is some digital effects here, adding that darkness to him, and then leaving his eye not darkened to make it look like it glows a bit. I like this. I don't do it often. Usually either he's got the yellow pupils with the white eyes, or his eyes are full red. Every once in a while, I'll do this in between where he's got the red eyes with the yellow pupil, and it always looks really cool. But yeah, so he's about to use a super attack, so he takes all his demonic energy back. That's how all of these undead are animated. He is possessing them with his demonic energy, and he is taking all that energy back. And so all the undead are collapsing. There's the nuke. There's the face. I'm not the biggest fan of that pose now, especially the lack of symmetry with the legs there, but I do like that. I feel like that was like a handmade smear on that one that came out on accident. And then this, I can't remember how long. I don't think it took me a week, but I remember working on this. I remember taping 2 pages to the drawing board and sitting there and doing this. I think me and Mom were watching a movie on her computer. I remember we turned the sofa around to face her computer. There was something we were watching. Maybe we were trying to watch it. I think we had Netflix at this point. And we had Netflix Instant, right? Because it used to be just DVD by mail. And we were having an issue hooking up, because the way we first watched Netflix on TV was through my phone. My mom bought cords that would connect my phone to the TV so we could watch Netflix off of my Netflix app. And that wasn't working, I think. And so we just turned the sofa around to where her computer is in the living room and watched something there that day. Because I remember sitting on the sofa with it being backwards, working on this. But yeah, I was really proud of this. The only digital effect really is the sky. It's the purple cloud sky. But the rest of this is colored pencil. And I think probably added some like vignette to it. And the sign, I think, is actually digitally added. I think that's actual sign that's around Area 51. But then we see Mavis's blast cut through it. Does that mean he survives? See the blast go out into space, classic Dragon Ball Z. And does Mavis survive? I don't know. There he is, and then he just kind of fades away. And we're back to Eureka. Now, here is, of course, Eureka is an actual town where I grew up. This is an actual bridge in Eureka. And this is so spot on, but I don't remember going there to get photos. I feel like maybe I found photos online. I must have gone and gotten those photos. I had to have. I had to go and taking those pictures myself because that's spot on. It's this little bridge that goes over a creek in the wooded area. We see a young Neil and Courtney. I like this. Neil before he grew his hair out, bigger glasses. Courtney when she had long brown hair. when Courtney was taller than Neil. She's a year older than him, remember. Also, the shirt Neil's wearing. See his brown shirt with some stitches in the front? That is the shirt from issue 3 of Hellgate, when he went and saved Courtney in the demon castle and got really messed up by a horde of demons, including being slashed across the stomach. For whatever reason, instead of just throwing the fucking shirt away, he had it mended. I don't know why he does that. Not a wasteful guy. And yeah, this is the breakup scene. So now I've talked about this technique on art streams, but this is a digital effect. This glow is made by basically me going in and filling the background with white, and then, but you know, the background's still a layer on top, but it only is where the background is. It doesn't cover the character, right? And then you blur the white, and it creates a glow around the characters, like they're backlit. I did that for the silhouettes. I did it for all of it. I know this expression, I used a reference from Bleach, I think, the manga. So I'm going to talk about this because I was very surprised on people's reactions to this. A lot of readers told me that they hated Courtney now, that they were mad at Courtney. And I hope I can chalk that up to the readers being a bit on the young side, right? Because the point of this is not that Courtney's unreasonable, right? You can't look at this as like, oh, I can't believe she's hurting Neil like that. How could she do that? Courtney is going through some shit mentally right now. She doesn't trust the feelings of others. Her depression won't allow her. It's right here. I don't know how, like he says, I love you. She goes, I don't know how to believe that. This breakup is coming down to the fact that they aren't communicating about their, what's the word for it? Insecurities. They haven't been communicating about their insecurities. She hasn't been talking about her fears of him being interested in other people or not interested in her anymore. Because it's obvious, us as the readers on the outside, that, you know, that's not there. He never shows any feelings towards Jenny. He was about to propose. We as the readers know that. She doesn't know that, right? Her insecurities aren't letting her see his feelings for her. And because he's oblivious to it, you know, he's powerless to stop this moment. So yeah, it bothered me a little bit when people were mad at Courtney for this, because I think they were being too harsh on her. I want you to be sympathetic towards Courtney here. You know, she's going through her own stuff. You can't put on her his hurt, right? It's his hurt is just going to happen right now until they can, if they can get things figured out, you know. We'll see where the story goes. But this is, I feel I had to have a reference here because that is spot on what that area of the woods looks like. And now this streamer Mochi Buns this is actually a photo. I think might have been the first time I used a full photo as a background after doing some editing to it. This was a photo taken for me by Mochi Buns, former streamer, I should say. She hasn't streamed forever. Because she lives in the Vegas area, and I asked her if she could go to the outskirts of Vegas and take a photo. And she did. She went to the outskirts of her fucking city and took a picture of the city from a distance for me. Really cool of her. Let's talk a little bit, because we can kind of see what happened to Mavis here. We can see his coat's all tattered, okay? There's a reason. I was tired of Mavis's outfit and some of the annoyances that came with it. He had like the really tall collar, and he had the really long sleeves where you couldn't see his hands, and those were getting annoying. The collar kept cutting off his facial expressions from certain angles, and his sleeves were really annoying to draw whenever his hands were actually sticking out of it. You know, whenever he's like raising his arm up, I had to figure out what the fuck to do with that. So I'm like, all right, let's just singe it and tatter it off. And this is fine. This whole like tattering around his collar is great. Boom, made that easier. The sleeves are so much fucking harder now, and I have not, all these years later, had a chance to make a change to that story-wise. So he just has these like tattered sleeves, and they are always a time sink. I made a mistake. But then we got some fan art. I felt bad because she gave me this, and I was like, cool. I didn't realize it was like actual like fan art at first. She's like, it's because it sucks, isn't it? I'm like, no, because you picked one of my most blandest characters to draw. But oh, I still have this one, right? Actually, both of these top ones are actually on my wall over here still. Yeah, and next time is issue 9, which is a doozy. So yeah, that was Heaven Gate Act 8. Thank you for that, Redeem, the Gamer Boy. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure you hit the like button, and I'd love to read your comments below. And make sure you're subscribed so you know when the next comic goes up. Also, check the description for a playlist of any readings you may have already missed. And if you'd like to read ahead, all of these comics are free on my website, YaegerComics.com. Bye!